All right, so I'm going to be talking to you guys for a little bit about Hatshepsut. I'm sure there are some of you that have never heard that name before, so really quickly I'm going to give you an overview of what exactly I'm going to be talking about. Using her cunning, ambition, and crafty networking, Hatshepsut rose to power to become a pharaoh of ancient Egypt, which was an unprecedented feat for a woman of her time. In fact, according to History.com, Hatshepsut was one of only 3 women in 3,000 years of ancient Egyptian history to obtain full power of Pharaoh. Now, the fact that a woman of this time period was not only able to obtain the title of Pharaoh, but convince the priests and noblemen to allow her to reign for over 20 years is very impressive, and it's definitely worth exploring. But who exactly was Hatshepsut? How did she get to power? What did she do with that power once she attained it? And what is her legacy? What did she leave behind when she died? Let's start with who exactly Hatshepsut was. Hatshepsut was born the daughter of a pharaoh, Thutmose I. She was the eldest of 2 daughters. And that left Thutmose to seek a successor through a secondary wife, because females were not an option to become pharaoh. He was able to find a successor through a secondary wife, or produce a successor through a secondary wife. The child was named Thutmose II, and in order to legitimize his claim to the throne, Hatshepsut was betrothed to her half-brother, which was common for royalty at this time to keep the bloodline pure. Now, when their father died, Thutmose II became pharaoh, and Hatshepsut became queen consort. And according to National Geographic, Hatshepsut played this role pretty normally. She had a child with her husband, and it was a daughter. So they weren't really able to, produce a successor there. So he had to go and find a successor through a secondary wife as well, which he did. The child was named Thutmose III, and shortly after his birth, Thutmose II died. So this left the title of pharaoh to an infant. Now, Hatshepsut was able to convince the noblemen and priests to allow her to be queen regent while this baby was able to grow, and until he was able to, fully take on the responsibility of pharaoh. It was during this time that she allowed herself to put the pieces into place for her to become pharaoh. She slowly and over time replaced key people in the court with people that would side and align with her needs. None were more important than the architect and overseer of royal works, Senenmut. When she was able to put him in place, that's when she made her power grab. She declared herself pharaoh, and everyone accepted it. Now, she declared herself pharaoh, but she didn't usurp the throne. The child was also still pharaoh, so technically they were co-rulers. Thutmose III and Hatshepsut were co-rulers. And everyone seemed fine with this. Everyone accepted it. So she has her crown, she's pharaoh of Egypt. So what does she do with it? she does two major things. She builds this grand temple. The Egyptian name is, I'm not even going to try to say it, but it translates to the Holy of Holies. And it's supposed to be her mortuary temple, so she's going to be buried there. And she was able to build this temple through the second biggest thing she did, which was she was able to bring in vast amounts of wealth via a trade route with a faraway land named Punt.